So you're thinking about moving to Blaine, Washington. Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through Blaine, showing you 3 different homes, 3 different neighborhoods at 3 different price points to help you better understand your budget. And if you stick around till the end, I'll provide a market recap and an overview on Blaine to help you better understand if this just might be the right spot for you. We're going to get started right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, we encourage you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about all the great things that are going on here in Blaine, in Bellingham, and Whatcom County as a whole. My name is Jeff Engen. I'm with MJB Real Estate Group in Bellingham, Washington, and every day we get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you who are considering a move to this area, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking about moving tomorrow, 10 months from now, or sometime in between, I encourage you to reach out. All of our contact information can be found below, and we would love to help. But without further ado, let's explore Blaine. Well, if you're not very familiar with Blaine and this is your first time exploring the area, you may be wondering what this large thing is behind me here. I thought this would be a fantastic place to start the tour. So I'm standing now in the middle of Peace Arch Park, and this is the Peace Arch Monument that was actually built in 1921 at that time to celebrate 100 years of peace between the US and Canada, and this border remaining open for that period of time. So behind me in the direction that I'm currently facing is Canada. You can see the 2 different flags on top of the monument there, and all these cars that are waiting behind me here are actually in line for gain of access or point of entry into the US. So you can see behind me here the US flag in the midst of the flowers there, spinning back the other direction. You can see that same Canadian flag if I position this just right. And this is the place that you would come if you were to cross over to go up to Vancouver, or if you're coming from Canada to cross through and immediately be in Blaine. It won't do it justice here at the moment, but behind these cars here is a phenomenal water view. This is situated just in the top left corner of Whatcom County, and this park is beautiful. You can see a lot what's going on behind me here. In the midst of COVID, this was actually one of the few places that, with the borders being closed, that many families could be able to see each other. To be able to meet here in this middle ground, you're not crossing a border. It sits effectively immediately between the United States and Canada and is open to everyone. So a pretty special place, and a place that's been of tremendous significance here over the course of the past couple of years. Anyhow, let's go see some homes. All right, so stop number 1, we are here at the south end of Birch Bay. Birch Bay is a place here in Blaine that we'll talk a little bit more about in the recap, but something not to be missed if you're visiting this area. In this townhome association behind me here, there are homes currently on the market. As an example, there's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, roughly 900 square feet that's on the market for $399. Now, this is a community that also comes with a pool, some other amenities, and this is also a community that would be a vacation home for some, or would be a year-round residence for others. Now, if we pan around, you can see that we're just up on top of a hill, and behind us there is Birch Bay. Your walking distance to the water, your walking distance to a very well-regarded, very popular ice cream and handmade candy destination called the C Shop, so the letter C. And you would be in biking distance very comfortably to Birch Bay State Park, restaurants, breweries, a lot of great stuff. So at this entry-level price point, this could be a year-round residence. This could be a vacation home. There are a lot of people who just come here for the summer months to take advantage of this great weather. So stop number 1, let's move on to spot number 2. All right, so stop number 2, this house behind me is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, approximately 2,500 square foot home. It was built in 2015, so relatively new. It's currently on the market at $755, and this is a neighborhood that's tucked off of Blaine Road, phenomenally convenient to I-5. This is less than a 2-minute drive to get you on the freeway going south. So if you're living in Blaine but you're going north to BC, or you're going south towards Bellingham, your travel time is going to be very brief. Another benefit for this neighborhood is that it does have a neighborhood access to the beach in Drayton Harbor, and we'll run down there and take a quick peek at that right now. All right, so all of a 2-minute walk from the home where we just were. This is the public access to this beach here on Drayton Harbor. Now I'm going to step up so that we can see a bit further out across the water. And 2 things that I'd like to point out. The first of which is Semiahmoo Resort, which you can see pretty much center of the frame there. Semiahmoo Resort, Semiahmoo Marina, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but effectively that, panning over to the right, you can see the first thing that you see really is the Blaine Marina, which is just across from Semiahmoo, and that is what creates this harbor. So Drayton Harbor, currently you can tell, of course, that the tide is out. The harbor is quite shallow, and so when the tide does go out, it does go out quite far, but when it comes back in, it is going to come all the way up to the edge of the beach here. One more thing as I zoom in that you can see that's quite unique here. So center of the frame now up on the hill is White Rock, British Columbia. So actually looking all the way up to Canada from where we stand now. All right, so stop number 3, we are here at the end of the Semiahmoo Peninsula, otherwise known as the Semiahmoo Spit. This is where the resort as well as the marina are located. And on this peninsula, there are a number of condominium associations as well. So in the building behind me, there are units available. They are 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 some odd square feet with a price tag of approximately $1.2 million. And that might seem high for that number of beds, number of baths, square footage, but if we take a brief spin around, you'll be able to see the value proposition and the reason for that price tag. This is just steps from the beach. We've got the resort just behind us here, and then across the water, looking as we did on the other side of Drayton Harbor there, across at White Rock, British Columbia. This is a fantastic community. As you head back up the peninsula, it's about a mile long. Towards the mainland, you've got the Semiahmoo Golf Course. It's an 18-hole Arnold Palmer golf course with a variety of homes that are built in around the course in generally in gated communities. Price ranges in that neighborhood and that community are going to run anywhere from low 800s up to $2+ million. So a lot of great opportunity for activity here in this area. There are beaches, there are marinas, there are tennis courts, the fitness facility at the hotel, a lot of great stuff going on here in the Semiahmoo area. So 3 different homes, 3 different price points, 3 different value propositions. The common theme that you may have noticed here is that Blaine is proximity to the water. We'll head back to the office for a quick recap on Blaine. All right, so back in my office, and as promised, we're going to do a quick overview of Blaine, Washington, after which I'll do a quick market recap of this area as well. But in these videos, there's a handful of things that I look to cover, and that includes the location, population, the weather, the earning potential, and recreation. And so let's start with location. So first things first, you saw at the start of this video, I was in Peace Arch Park. I was literally standing on the border between the US and Canada. And so distance from Blaine to Vancouver is just 32 miles. Now, to travel that distance is going to typically take about an hour's time, could be a little bit less, could be significantly more, and that's going to vary based on your border wait time and traffic once you cross that border. But it is nice and close, and there is something called a Nexus Pass. So if you're coming to Washington State and you plan to cross the border on a regular basis, the Nexus Pass is kind of like TSA PreCheck. In fact, there are programs that allow you to get these multiple designations, if you will, all simultaneously. So if you're going to be traveling back and forth across the border to Canada on a regular basis, the Nexus is going to save you a bunch of time. There's a different lane. It's going to be much shorter and allow you that easy access. Now heading south, if we're going to go down to Bellingham, Bellingham's going to be approximately 23 miles south of Blaine. It's going to be a relatively short trip because really you're just hopping on the freeway and taking I-5 all the way down. Reasons that you might go to Bellingham out of the Blaine area could be for work, could be for recreation, could be for access to a higher level of medical care, for example, St. Joseph's Hospital. Could just be to go out for an evening and have some more options in terms of restaurants, nightlife, etc. So depending on where you're heading in Bellingham, you can plan for approximately a 30-minute trip, give or take, and typically there's not much in the way of traffic that's going to impact that travel time with any significance. The next major stop headed south, of course, is Seattle, and it's going to be approximately 115 miles straight down I-5 to get you to Seattle. Now again, travel time is going to vary to Seattle based on traffic, based on your ability to access carpool lanes, all that good stuff. And so no matter where you're going, when you're heading out of the Blaine area, it's always a good idea to take a look at your travel app, your Maps app on your phone to give you an estimated travel time. And if you're planning a trip for the future, you can always hop online. There's different websites that'll give you estimated travel times based on averages for not only day of the week, but hour of the day. And that can be helpful for you if you're planning a trip that's weeks out, headed to the airport, something like that. So item number 2 we want to talk about is population. So population of Blaine as of the last census is right around 6,000 people. So when we're talking about the different major cities in Whatcom County, we've got Bellingham at 90,000. We've got Ferndale proper at 15,000, and then unincorporated Ferndale approximately 30,000. You've got Linden proper at about 15,000 as well, so neck and neck there with Ferndale. And then Blaine, as mentioned, at just 6,000. So it is the smallest of the 4 major cities here in Whatcom County, but it's a fantastic spot that is growing. And if you hop online and you look at the census, it's pretty much a straight linear progression with steady growth on an annual basis going back a number of years now. So Blaine, being right on the border, offers a lot of convenience for people who are working or living across the border and making that trip every day. If they've got kids that they want to have in a U.S. school or in a Canadian school, they're going back and forth every day. It makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of clients who are moving to Blaine specifically to still remain in the States, but be close to family that's located up in BC. And so for those reasons and many more, there are a lot of people who are relocating to Blaine. Whatcom County as a whole is about 225,000 people. So again, of that, 225, Blaine up there in the top left corner of the county accounts for approximately 6,000 people. So talking a little bit about weather. Now, if you've not been to the area before, you've probably heard about all the rain and the gray that goes on here in the Pacific Northwest. And while some of that is true, I like to put some facts and figures behind that or to that presumption to help you better understand what that actually means. And so Blaine, actually being up in the north part of the county, actually gets just a touch less rain and a little bit more sun than even Bellingham a bit south. So in Blaine, approximately 160 days of sun per year, approximately 158 days of precipitation per year. That could be snow, that could be rain, that could be a mix, and has an average annual rainfall of 38 inches, which is actually dead on, spot on with the national average for rain across the United States. We have typically very mild temperatures, so average high temperature in the summer months is going to be 72. Average low in the winter months is going to be 35. Now, borrowing from the website bestplaces.net, bestplaces.net gives Blaine a comfort index of 9.2 out of 10 in the summer months, gives it a 5.3 in the winter months. One thing that I do like to mention about rain is, the days that we do have rain, there's lots of different places around the US where when it rains, and you need an umbrella and you need a jacket, and maybe you decide not to go outside because it is coming down. But here in Whatcom County, there's a joke that if you see somebody with an umbrella, they must be a tourist, because we really, just don't get that much rain accumulation in a short period of time, and B, it's just kind of built into our way of life at this point. So on those days of precipitation, it's going to be a drizzle. It's rare that it's a downpour, and because of that, you may have only an average of maybe 100 days of precipitation in another part of the country, but in that part of the country, those 38 inches of rain that have accumulated is being compact into those 100 days versus spread out over 150, 160 some odd days here in this area. So hopefully that provides a little context. I will say that, for what we do lack in the winter months in terms of daylight and sunshine, we more than make up for typically in the summer months with these long days, 16 and a half hours of daylight, mild temperatures, relatively low humidity. It's a fantastic place to be. Okay, so talking a little bit about earning potential, things have evolved over the course of the last couple of years via COVID and this response to work from home, work remote. It's caused a lot of people to keep jobs in other parts of the world but relocate to places that they would find more desirable to be long term. And so the average household income in Blaine is $72,000. Very similar to Ferndale, Linden, perhaps a little bit lower than Bellingham proper. But of course, as you well know, with all these opportunities to work remotely, that's significantly impacting what your earning potential is, because now what we're dealing with is not your ability to earn just here in this market with jobs where you live, but having access to employment from a distance. So $72,000 annual average household income in Blaine. So let's talk about recreation. Now, recreation in the Pacific Northwest as a whole, you know, some of the things that we're best known for are skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, the list goes on. We have all those things here. They're readily available for you in Whatcom County, and in some cases even here specifically in Blaine. But there's two big things that when people call from outside of the area and they say, hey, we're looking to relocate, and there's a couple things that are really important to us, and those things are golf, and those things are access to the water. Well, one of the first places that comes to mind is Semiahmoo. So as you saw in stop number 3 from the condo that we stood in front of, Semiahmoo is a community that is built around a phenomenal 18-hole Arnold Palmer golf course, gated community there around the course itself. Heading out the spit, end of a mile-long peninsula, you find the resort, you find those condos, you find the marina. And so right there in that community, you've got a place to live, a place to keep your boat, a place to play golf. You've also got Loomis Trail Golf Course in Blaine area. That's separate ownership at this point in time from the Semiahmoo Resort, but it's another fantastic course that's there in that same general area, maybe 10, some odd 15 minutes apart from one another. So if you're looking for golf, you're looking for access to the water, you're looking for those views, well then that section of Blaine is something that might appeal to you. Now, if you're looking to be in a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more flexibility in your budget, we're heading down to Birch Bay, where we saw stop number 1, the townhomes there on the south end of Birch Bay. Now, Birch Bay is a mixed community of, you know, everything from vacation style cottages and almost in some cases like tiny homes, manufactured homes, etc., all the way up to, you know, $1 million plus homes that are right there on the beach, looking out over Birch Bay. And so those are two areas not to be missed while you're here in the Blaine area. If particularly in the summer months, you know, in Birch Bay, you've got people who have their boats just sitting either on the beach or out on a buoy. They do bottom out when the tide goes out, no big deal. You're just planning your activities around those tides, but you can go out crabbing and clamming and fishing and just being on the water right, you know, from your front door there in the Birch Bay area. So in addition to being able to go down to Bellingham for mountain biking at Galbraith Mountain, in addition to being able to head out east to Mount Baker for world-class skiing and snowboarding, and accessing all of the trail systems that we have throughout Whatcom County, Blaine is one of those fantastic spots for you to get on the water and enjoy all the amenities that are to be found there. All right, so just a brief market recap as we wrap up as promised. So as of today, the time that I shoot this video, there are 115 homes currently on the market in Blaine. Now those range in price going from $118,000 for what is a manufactured home and kind of a recreational community. Think of it as like a seasonal summer vacation property, all the way up to a $6.5 million estate, which is on 15 acres. It's nearly a 12,000 square foot home. So you can see there's quite a disparity or quite a range there from top to bottom. Now, the average price of a home, the mean sales price of a home at present in Blaine is $580,000. Days on market is 17, and so these are our averages, right? From the time a property lists to the time that it goes under contract is taking about 17 days. This is slightly up from what we would have experienced over the last couple of years, as we've seen an increase in interest rates and the number of clients competing for the same homes has gone down. So if all of this sounds good to you, if you think you can deal with a few more days of rain, but for the same total accumulation that you might be used to now, you think you can benefit from access to the water, to golf, to boating, to all these great recreational activities that we talked about in this quiet community that's located in great proximity to these major metropolitan areas, well then maybe Blaine might be the right spot for you. Hey, one more time, encourage you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you can stay up to date on all the great videos that we're releasing, all the great content we're releasing about Blaine, about Bellingham, about Whatcom County. Again, all of our contact information can be found below. Really appreciate your time and hope to see you again soon.